do a lot more than anything that we would be able to pay you for.
Well,
That's
I try my best. I appreciate it. Well, it is noon. I want to thank everyone for joining us here today. It's at SCORE. My name is Jasper. I'm joined by John Anderson, our Central Maine chapter chair for today's presentation on starting your own business. It's a primer. If you're looking to start or if you are currently starting and need some further guidance, this is a great place to start. It's also a great plug if you're here at this workshop and not working with a mentor already. They're free and confidential, just like this workshop. And you do it by heading to the homepage of where you signed up for this workshop and entering your zip code. It's pretty simple and easy. I do want to thank John for presenting today. I want to thank today's sponsor, the TD Charitable Foundation, for making this event possible. We look forward to your questions. If you have any, feel free to either cue them in the chat and we will address them as they come up, or utilize the raise hand function in the React window at the bottom of your screen. When the time's right, we can have you come off and mute and ask your question. We are recording today, so if you miss anything, we will be sending this out once it's available and posted to our YouTube channel. That also contains our library of workshops across a wide variety of topics, such as accounting, marketing, social media, buying or selling your business, even. Either way, John, why don't you take it away?
great. Thank you very much, Jasper, and welcome everybody. This is something we offer. We try and offer at least, I believe, at least once a quarter. And we
Monthly on
this
this one, actually.
really, and
Oh, yeah.
we also have some free things that are available to you, as Jasper was talking about in score.org. We have the steps to starting your own business. It's kind of like a self-paced course where you can get some more information because there's great interest in starting your own business, in being your own boss for that matter. And that's one of the reasons that we offer this here. I'm one of the approximately 60 SCORE volunteers here in Maine that we just on our free time that we try and help however we can. And we have a general knowledge of business, but I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant, but I work with people who are volunteers, and I can bring in a variety of other expertise that may be able to help you in not only starting a business, but maybe taking what you have to the next level. That's we do this for free. We're anxious to help however we can. So, well, why don't we get on with this? I encourage people to jump in to go ahead and unmute yourself and jump in if you have any questions or concerns. One thing we will be doing, Jasper said, we'll send you the recording of this, but we'll also send you the slide deck. And the slide deck does have several hot links that I don't have the time to go into at this particular during this time here. We try and gear it towards lunch hours, but you'll get a copy of the slide deck with all the hot links, and you can go ahead and access those as you see fit. So why don't we get going here? Uh, our next slide is no.
Hmm.
It's funny, Jasper.
Oh,
We
there you go.
have been working.
Mouse is moving. Just
There we go. Okay. Uh, Put this in the chat box. Uh, and it's something that gets us thinking about what you want to do, where you are in that process, and some of the key questions that you hope today that we'll be able to look at. That's one of the things we want to make sure of too, is whenever we have any interaction with any of our clients, is that did we meet your expectations? Did we answer the questions that you needed to get answered? And just an idea so that you'll be able to see this. What we're going to be doing, how we've got this organized, is the blue tile is going to be the basic content that we'll go to, that we'll spend most of our time in, and then the green will be kind of a wrap up of what we were just talking about in the blue. Now we start with, and I think that this is probably the most important slide of all. Uh, I'm thinking about the what I want to do. Say I am interested in breweries and cider and that kind of a thing, say, just for sake of discussion. That's what that's what I want to do. Say I want to open a cider house here in where I live. I live up in the Woolwich area, just next to Bath, in between Bath and Damascotta, Wiscasset area. But I want to open up a cider house there because I like cider. I'm just fascinated by the cider and apple culture that really has been a mainstay of Maine agriculture for years and years and years. But I like that. That's what I want to do. Okay. How, that's the green circle. Then we move to the yellow circle. How I do it. Well, that would be the physical plan. That do I want an elaborate like a tasting room? Do I want to have something that's out in the woods? Is that something I want to have with you know, do I want to, how do I get my apples? How do I get my cider? And how do I get enough, et cetera? That kind of thing. How would I serve it? What types of varieties would I have and all that? But then we move into the bullseye. Why do I want to do that? Why do I want to do that? Is it just because I like cider? Is it just because any experience that I've had at any other cider houses, the vibe has just been great? And there's one cider house up in Alna, which is probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes to 30 minutes away from me there. The vibe is just wonderful. And it's kind of a like a farm atmosphere, but it's in a shed like the serving room there too. And they have picnic tables. They have fire pits. They have a nice open field where you can see the starry nights and feel the crisp afternoons, etc. I like the varieties of cider that they do have, etc. But it's kind of like the why it would be the vibe of the place that people having a good time, that they tend to mingle with each other and not separate themselves, but they can if they would like to. But you get some good cider and it's just a lovely place. So it's a product that I like, but it's in an environment and the kind of community that I create is really probably the why. Now, I'm not saying I'm doing this, but I think it's a good example. And I have like I said, there's a cider house that's near here where I can experience all those things. So maybe the why is answered by the kind of experience that I'm used to that I really like. Uh, that I have enjoyed so much. And that's how I want to be part of that. I want to have a business like that. But these are all the kind of things that I think you need to ask yourself, because the why is going to get you through the hard times, the slow times, the equipment breakages, the disgruntled customers, the whatever, the things that kind of take the steam out of your dream. Now, so we've already kind of gone through this. I don't think I need to elaborate there too. But let's start with number three. What is your product or service? Because the business, there are a variety of things that a business will offer a customer. It doesn't only have to be an item like a product like cider, but it could be the feel of it. It could be maybe a service. A plumber may not bring like a product in there too, but the plumber fixes your plumbing. The electrician fixes your electricity or installs it, etc. there too. But all the other things that a business is, not only a product or service, but think about all the other things that go into making a business successful. Not only the capital that you'll need, but what about your employees? We have an HR expert who helps us develop employee handbooks and policies for them. You may not really even need that with one or two employees, but if your business grows to 5 to 10, you need to have the processes in the personnel processes, for instance, the payroll, etc., the hiring and the firing, even the disciplinary processes that you'll need there too. Do you want to use Toast? Do you want to use some other type of point of sale software? What's the best? The answers are all out there, but these are the kind of things that you're going to be needing to build a, um, uh, a body of expertise that will allow you to be to have a successful business. And right here in the middle, looks like just a general store. Maybe it sells a little bit of everything, whether products or services. You may be. and probably rent apartments up above if you don't live there already there too. So, but all the businesses, they're all very different, but they're all very much alike in some of the challenges that they have to go through. So what's your role as a business owner? Well, the money, the break even. Now that's one thing. One of my colleagues, he's a retired CPA, and that's one of his favorite things. He's a money man anyways, but it's the break even. What will it need? What will your business need in order to keep things going? And that's not only day to day, but that's season to season. Here in Maine, where we have many of our businesses are seasonally focused, there how about those slow months? What are you still have electricity, water, you still have perhaps a land lease that you've got to pay. What is it going to take? How much business will you need? How many employees will you need when things are slow? You'll be gangbusters in late spring through summer and fall. And there may be a spike too in the summer or the winter season in terms of like snowmobilers, et cetera, skiers, etc. I'm just thinking of a client that I have in Farmington who's on Route 2. It's right up to the Rangeley Lakes area there too. So he gets a spike in the winter, but most of his business is late spring, summer, and fall. And the fall, especially the county fair season there too. So what does he do on these real slow, say a January without snow and all that? And he still has bills to pay. So you need to think about that, and you can write that down. We can provide a free cash flow spreadsheet that you can just fill in the numbers and it will calculate for you. That would also be the kind of thing that you would need to present to any kind of a commercial lender if you did need to get any funding for that. They'd like to see that because they're investing in you and they don't want to invest in something or someone who will not be able to pay their bills. All of these other things, we've talked a little bit about that, building your team. And now, building your team is not only your employees, but it's also the outside expertise that you'll need: attorney, CPA. Will you need an insurance agent? Uh, do you need, are you in a business that has a lot of, say, physical plant needs where you'll need a plumber or a carpenter, et cetera, and all that, or like a handyman, so to speak. So you'll have ready access to someone who can actually repair things in a timely manner. And also the financial statements. That's where we find is that people tend to be very, very good at providing the product or the service, but not so great on the business end. So that's what one of the things that we try and steer our people to is that if you don't have that inherent I'm thinking of what ends up being an ideal thing is the husband who does the work, the wife who does the administration and the business part of it there too. Um, and it doesn't have to be a husband and wife, but there's somebody who concentrates on the product or the service, and then there's somebody or even if you pay to have it done, someone who will make sure that your books are straight. Okay. Trying to trying to change our there we go.
Great.
So more of our summation slides here there too. The vendors and the software. That's not necessarily a slam dunk. I have my Farmington client is working through Square versus Toast. They're very nice salespeople, but the actual practice of how it works, what is offered, and additional services, how much does the software cost? How often is it updated? How effective is it? That's one thing that you would have to work through there too. Um, one thing I'd like to mention too is that he has found is that he talks to other people who are in his particular business and who will give him some feedback about their experiences. He's not competing with them in that sense so much as he just would love to figure out what their expertise, lean on their expertise and get some help from them too. And resources. This concentrates on you. Um, do you have the personal experience to you think to succeed in what you would like to do, chances are you think you will succeed, and that's great there too. But be real about this. Do you have the experience? I have a client who cleans residential homes in Auburn, and he had no experience in that, but he really sensed a need, a customer need in there. And one of the things that we were able to advise him in is that why don't you go work for somebody who actually does this and get a feel for how it is, how hard it is, what it's like to work with customers, kind of pick their brain on there. Now, what we suggested as well, too, is that he would not be working for somebody in Auburn, but go down to Portland where there's not that perception of direct competition. And he did work for a short time for somebody who did this work in Portland and got a feel for the business. I think he worked 9 months or whatever, but he worked as long as he really felt he needed to get some experience in this. And now he went ahead and he launched a residential cleaning business in Auburn and is doing quite well there too. And he got some good advice too, where I thought, because I have a friend who's in the commercial cleaning business in Cincinnati, an old high school chum, and we thought, well, you just go commercial. I mean, nobody will bother you. You're probably cleaning in the off hours, and there's probably some pretty big accounts, and it's probably pretty straightforward and all that. Whereas you just need a few big commercial accounts versus a number of quite a few small residential accounts. Well, we found out it's actually the opposite. It's much more lucrative residential market than a commercial market. And so it's counterintuitive, at least was to us. But my client did go the residential route and is doing really quite well. He had the talents. Maybe there isn't that much talent for cleaning, but there's a lot of talent for dealing with customers, and especially residential customers, because you're dealing with their home and all that. And my client seemed to interact very, very well with his the residential people, and is doing well. Auburn's a relatively small market, but he's done fairly well there too. Is it his passion? I don't know if cleaning is his passion, but running his own business and taking matters into his own hand, that's really his passion, I would say. And family support, his wife, of course, is totally on board with this and understands the time constraints that my client needs to spend, etc. But is that something, all these items there too? Ask yourself, look at risk tolerance. Do you have the can you handle the disruption, the potential financial and professional risk in being in charge? Is that something that you can handle, or are you really better as an hourly employee or a salaried employee? One of the things that I've seen in my career, looking back, I'm retired now, but looking back, is that I had more fun as an assistant director, as a deputy, etc. Instead of being the head man in charge. The head man in charge, I could do it, and I have done it in a variety of different functions. But I really think I was very helpful, more helpful as an assistant, or as a, like I said, a deputy or a vice uh, president, if you want to call it that. And it's just kind of interesting looking back. That was really where I did the best. And I think if I were re-entering the workforce, I would be aware of that too. Now, remember, we talked about you personally. How about externally? How about those things that you need to succeed? Um, you may need commercial lending. I have a client who's actually starting a home care business. She doesn't need a lot of money on that. She doesn't need a lot to do that. We really focused on really what her transportation costs would be, and she could handle that there too. But she did need a lot of time because she services individual clients, and that would be all she could do. She couldn't hold down another job. She'd have to devote her time entirely to that. And In home health care, there's a waking up in the morning, getting out of bed, their breakfast, and then there's lunch, then there's supper, and then there's getting ready for bed there too. So some unusual hours, but those are some of the concerns that for her for home health care. What are your concerns? Do you have the energy that it's going to take? If you're used to 8-hour days, what about 12 or 16-hour days? Maybe not every day, every week, but there will be times when it will be extremely busy. Um, my energy level as I get older, obviously it slackens, it goes down. And your health. Does your health support that? I had a client who bought a business, a general store in a rural area, and a general store in that type of an environment serves a lot of people, provides a lot of services and products, and is open early and closes late. Uh, did he have the health? He was medically retired from the military, and that was one of the things that I was concerned about. Would the health problem that he had, would that be okay for him in terms of the hours and the energy that he would need to expend in this very busy, very long hours business there too? And the skills, we talked about that. If you don't have the skills, you can get them. The on-the-job training is hard training. People do it, and it can be done, but it's better to get some practical skills before you dive in. And you can do that by going to work for somebody or a company or something else that provides a similar service. Some of our wrap up here too. Skills and money. I look at that. Skills and money. And this is an interesting slide. The But what I want to focus on is not so much that businesses run out of money. They run out of that's usually in Maine. That ends up being a seasonal thing. Is that there's just not enough money coming in to pay the lease, to pay the electric, to pay the water, etc. Um, but look at the bottom there. No market need. Now, no market need. Let's look into that a little bit more because look at that. Is you'd think that would be something you could relatively easily rule out and make sure that you're providing something that people will actually want and pay money for. And this is how you get over that. Look at the customer. Think of yourself in the customer's spot. We had a client who he was a brewer. He was like a hobby brewer, hobbyist brewer. Uh, uh, very confident in his product. I never tried it, but he was very confident in his product. Very confident that others would like it as well, and had a kind of had a plan, there too. But what I think, I don't, he wasn't really interested in advice, and we get that. We get that. Because he thinks he had figured it all out himself, but he didn't put himself in the customer's spot. Uh, what does the customer think of his product? And also, he didn't want to bottle it and sell it to a distributor. He wanted to do all the distribution himself. And he didn't want to be bothered with bottling. What he wanted to do is he wanted to really just brew and sell his product by the keg. So that would require him to go sell it to either a distributor who would then sell it to various bars, restaurants, etc., or he'd have to do that too. He didn't understand the distribution business, and something like that. What we found is that the distributors and the restaurant and bar owners, the pub owners, what they need to have is they need to have uh, an idea of what the product is like. They have to know what the product is because they're devoting time and effort to that and space. And he wasn't thinking in their terms. He was just saying, If I make it, people will buy it and drink it and they'll love it and all." But he wasn't putting himself in the customer's spot. Are you doing that? Are you thinking as a customer would think, what kind of a problem, what kind of a nice thing would the customer want that you can provide? It's not just that you like it or not that you think it is important, but what does the customer, your prospective customer, what do they think? And as far as your customer, do you know your customer? You're likely going to have more than one type of customer, and that's what I'm talking about. What ages are you focusing on? Men and women often have different perspectives as well, and have different tastes and all. Are you, how will not only your product appeal to them, but how can it appeal to them? They're already the where are you going to be? My cider house, I'd like to open one in Woolwich, but I have the Tin Top cider that's right up in Alna, which is probably 30 minutes away. That's just great and would make me want to get into the business because the vibe is so good. But will people come to my cider house as opposed to Tin Top? And what kind of, how many people? Will they be coming from Brunswick? Will they be coming from the areas that Tin Top is already drawing people from there too? And are these older people? Are they younger people? Um, are they summer people? Are they winter people? Are they year round? Are they blue collar? Are they professional people? And also, as the politics, as we experience more polarization and fracturing along political and ideological lines, is it wise for you to put your political um, proclivities, a big flag or whatever on the side of your variety store? We go by Dave's in Steep Falls on our way up to camp. And he usually has a big political slogan on the side of his building. And we understand, people have strong opinions, and Dave certainly is one of them. But uh, I, I think that if I were Dave, my customer base consists of all types of people. I'm trying to serve all types of people. And I don't know that I would have spent that kind of time and effort, um, uh, perhaps alienating a significant part of my customer base. And Dave is in an area where there's not much competition. Maybe Dave thinks that and says, that's fine. Who else again are they going to go to? But I think that's disrespectful of the customer, and you kind of set yourself up for if there is ever any other competition that you may lose that little bit of customer base there too. So, and here is something I'd like you to think about. This is a depiction of the value proposition. That's a buzzword. People use it all the time, but the value proposition, so I like to think about that as uh, what's the problem that you're trying to solve for what target market? And what we'll do is we'll be using this diagram to work through some things. Now, a value proposition consists of not only the value as in terms of the worth, or you may think of that in terms of monetary processes, but there are also other values that your customer is going to be thinking of. Look in the bottom, see the yellow and the main made had a kettle corn uh, client. And that's one of the things that they found was a big draw. They go to county fairs and they love these makers markets. Have you ever experienced one of those? It's where they'll get vendors to come in, and it's usually a big, like an auditorium type of place. And it's all sorts of vendors that are just selling their various, whether it be jewelry, soaps, perfumes, kettle corn, uh, anything, all sorts of items. It's not a crafts fair. This is really it's a different kind of vibe on there. And they found that in their logo, they went through the design of the logo. We looked at it. We thought it looked great. And they added Maine Made as a separate sticker there too, because although there was the assumption that what are you going to do with kettle corn? It has to be fresh. Of course, it's going to be made locally. Not necessarily, and if you can add Maine made, isn't that's a value that your target customer group may really hold, and that may cause a purchase. Whereas somebody else, if it's just simple or convenient or fast or fresh or whatever, the fact that it's Maine made. What about Sarah's Whoopie Pies? Those are made by the Labadie's Bakeries up in Lewiston. And if you have never had the opportunity to do that, it's right down on, I believe it's Canal Street, but it's pretty close to the old factories that are on the river, and those are the best whoopie pies ever. Not the factory made ones, although those are good, but if you can get the fresh ones, there, that's something. Not only is it made, but it's fast and it's fresh and all that, and that's a big value to me. I know as a maybe I'm a whoopie pie connoisseur, so. But these are other things. It's not only a monetary transaction. It's not only a convenience transaction. You're not only in a good location and all that, but there are certain things that your customers value. And if you reflect those values, as that's part of your brand, is those values, that could cause a transaction there too. So what is your value proposition? Like I've been saying, it's about your customer. Put yourself in your customers. It's not your values so much as what your customer values, and then how you can provide that value. Um, what emotions, that's an interesting thing, will your customer feel after purchase? Remember, I like to think that we're mostly rational people and rational beings and all that, but there's always an emotional component to your business. And what are you doing emotionally to satisfy that customer's need there too? Is it they come into your place and are you, hi, how you doing? Welcome to whatever, the on you're clean, squared away, on target, open at the right time, etc. And the customer is gets a good feeling after that, and that good feeling is going to be transmitted to, maybe not in big detail, but they'll tell their friends and family about that. They'll affirm other customer positive comments about you and the service or the product that you provide. Here's some value proposition examples. Look at the first one, a coffee shop. Okay, it mentions artisanal coffee, good coffee, right? Special coffee, um, and not just special, but artisanal, right? Artisanal, in a community-focused space. That we have a small cafe creme here in Bath, and it does that. It's the decor, the feel of the place, the the people who do go there, the products that they offer, uh, and their hours, the service, the wireless that they have. Um, it's much more than just a cup of coffee. And I think that that's where you get these values that that Cafe Creme is able to, and they even have the card that says like after so many cups of coffee, you get a free cup of coffee or in a donut or something like that there too. But that's value in the conventional sense, but the value in the more psychological sense is what you get when you walk through there and see friends or see people who are enjoying that, etc. So, and you can see here a number of other well-known value propositions. I think about Walmart, wide selection, national brands, lowest price anywhere. What's your value proposition? Notice this there too. Does anybody want to volunteer something that they're working on for their value proposition? This is you just go ahead and unmute yourself, and you can just go ahead and speak up. Well, hearing nothing. I know this is not always an easy thing to do that, but if it's something you want to add in the chat box or something you just think about yourself, then go ahead and do that. Now, just because you like your value proposition, what do your customers think about it? Now, open-ended does that means you can't say yes, no, right, wrong, black and white. Is it why do you feel that way? What have you noticed that makes us different? What have you noticed that would be more attractive or more efficient, et cetera, and all? You're asking for something that's going to start a conversation. Yeah, you want an answer, but you want a conversation that maybe what you can do is you can find out some additional information. More likely than not, they'll volunteer that additional information. We're going to send you a survey after this, and we want your feedback. We want your feedback, but we're testing our value proposition to you there too. Now, look at two. Um, did you see that each market segment can have its own value proposition? What's important to me as a retiree may be very different than to a person who's actually still in the working world and probably has a number of years before they would even consider retiring. Somebody who's a salaried employee versus a business owner, that we even have these business to business uh, uh, functions that we regularly attend at SCORE because we just want to tell people, these businesses, is that we can help them. We're not only a startup helper, but we can help you if you're already in business there too. Um, and did you see too that the value proposition, it's not necessarily written in stone, but it needs to be re-examined because your market may change. Your market segments, your customer targets, they may change over time. They may even change with the season too, as we have here in Maine, many summer people versus year-round residents there too. There could be economic classes that will change over time as well. So here is an example. I spoke a little bit to some of the people who first signed on how we're going to send you the slide deck. Look at the underlined bullet points here. Those are hot links. So I'm not going to go into them because I just don't have the time to do that. It's a 42 slides crammed into a very short period of time. But we'll send you the slide deck, and what you can do is you can go ahead and access those hot links yourself. You can print them out, you can ponder them, you can hopefully act on them. But this is all something that will be yours to have and to hold and to keep. Now, the team of professionals, not only your team, your employee team, but who are you going to need to navigate the various requirements that you'll have as a business owner, as a business operator? Well, do you need your own attorney? You probably need access to an attorney. We have attorneys who are retired attorneys who are working with us here at SCORE, but we can't give you legal advice, although we can kind of give you an idea of what you should be looking for and what you would take to an attorney. Um, that's the same with bankers too. Bankers, that's a commercial lender, I would even say, even more than a banker. Uh, I like the local people. I like Norway Savings, Maine Community Bank. I especially like Maine Community Bank, Bangor Savings, Androscoggin, Franklin Savings. They all are pretty innovative and they have some tie to the local community. That doesn't mean that you're a shoe-in. That doesn't mean that they won't scrutinize your plans and ask you some hard questions, but they are more invested in the local community, and you are that local community. Do you have an insurance agent? Do you have an independent insurance agent who can look through a variety of different policies and advise you accordingly? An accountant. Now, the way that I've seen it work is that we have bookkeepers and we have CPAs. The CPAs are the ones with the hard expertise. You know, those are that they're just superb. But you have bookkeepers too who will look at your receipts, who will help you manage your books so that you can bring them to a CPA and file your taxes. Or the enrolled agents, they are enrolled agents of the IRS. That means that they're affiliated, trained. They have to uh, complete a certain number of the CPA credits or CPE credits each year in order to stay as IRS enrolled agents there too. But they're going to help you keep your money straight, your cash flow, so that you see it, that it's accurate, etc. Another thing too, of course, business peers, people who you respect and who you know. Uh, how do you get to your business peers? Well, you may not be thinking about it. It may just be one of those. Well, of course, I would think about this, but many people don't. You've got trade organizations. If you're a contractor, if you're a building contractor, you have two separate active trade organizations in Maine, trade associations who offer training, who offer networking, who offer just a variety of like expertise and advice to you. So we have one client. He's a merchant mariner, and he comes home for 6 months and then goes out to sea 6 months. But he's at home and he's a sailor, but he just loves being able to come home and build. And so he's from his proceeds from his merchant marining, he has established a very successful home building and home repair business along with peers. And I think that he's probably the commercial lender, maybe not a commercial lender, but he's probably investing a lot of his own money into it to start it up. But we steered him towards membership in one of these trade organizations, and he has been getting a lot of great advice and great business contacts, people who will help him navigate all the hard things, and so that he doesn't have to learn on his own. Because as you know, most of us we learn through the school of hard knocks, but this guy is getting through the trade organization. I have a new client who's a plumber who is relocated from one area of the state to another area of the state, and we found him a trade organization that works with plumbing, heating, air conditioning, etc., and well respected, very active, and lot of information there too. But there he's getting some information as he revitalizes his business and making the professional contacts that he needs to help him out. Now, insurance. Don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but I think that this will tie into what type of business structure you want, because you want to protect your assets. You want to protect yourself. Of course, if you're liable, you're liable, and you need to take care of that. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are covered, because if you're doing any kind of work on a client's home, you want to protect yourself, in case you damage them, the house. What about getting to and from the motor vehicles, the right workers' comp if you have employees, etc. And are you bonded? We just had a wildlife control specialist at my mother's house, and one of the things that we didn't ask ourselves, I think we're okay, but we didn't ask ourselves. He gets up on the roof. Is he insured? Is he bonded? Not only to protect himself, but also to protect us as well. And we should have checked it in that. A lot of businesses will actually have that as part of their logo there too. And what about yourself, your appropriate life and health? Um, because what you're going to be doing is that if you are out of the picture and you're the one providing the primary product or service, I broke a rib and that laid me up for a couple weeks. And I was just thinking, if I had a very physical job, I couldn't even start a lawnmower, and what would happen? We have a contractor who herniated a disc in his back, and that laid him up for 3 weeks, and we still have yet to get an estimate from him. But I understand he's kind of in the recovery phase, and then he's got to be very, very careful about what he does, climbing ladders, lifting bags of cement, lumber up on his shoulder as he crawls across a roof or as he, etc. So, what are you going to do? Do you have the appropriate type of insurance? Now, you can get this all from an independent insurance agent because they have all access to all the different companies, and they know these various things. They have experience about what's appropriate, how much is appropriate, how little you can get by with, etc. I don't know this, and that's why I recommend, you have expertise that's available to you, and you can call them up, you can text them, you can email them. Another thing too that is easily overlooked. I had a client who was very interested in providing Section 8 rental housing and to the government as we accommodate many immigrants coming into Maine. He was interested in doing this. He found a property in Auburn, and as we talked through the various things that he would need to do, we got on the city of Auburn, their website, and we found everything that he needed in order to comply with the town regulations because and the federal regulations as well, because he needed to, if he wanted to rent to that specific purpose and community, he had to be right in tune with all of these various codes, etc. And the interesting thing about that is that there were some significant differences between Lewiston and between Auburn. Auburn was not as tightly regulated as Lewiston, but all the information was easily accessible and was right there online. And so that's why I say don't go on assumptions. Don't go thinking that well, this is what I heard or this is what seems sensible to me. It's very easy and very straightforward to find it right online. And then there will be a telephone number that you can call up in case you have any questions or you want to confirm something. But this is all that you need to do. Now, look, that's the town and the city. How about the state and federal? Uh, Found a group that had been designing and marketing urban wear as hoodies and some various other things. Uh, well designed, absolute quality. Um, Fairly young folks uh, who went out and they found manufacturers. They researched the marketing on their own. They did delivery, etc., and were very successful. The only thing that they didn't cover was sales tax, and they had operated for 2 years without any sales tax. And of course, they're saying, "Well, we're young. I mean, we don't know about these things." And well, you're young, but look how smart you were in finding the manufacturing. Look at the artwork. Look at the design, the quality design, and the fact that you nailed it, and that people love your product, and that you're selling it, and who knows what else you'll be able to get into too as you expand your product line because you really understand your customer. But you can't you can't you can't blow off the sales tax. Is that Governor Mills, she is absolutely unsympathetic to anything that you have about your sales tax problems there too, and it's very easy to find it out. The website is easy, it's self-explanatory. You can find all of that, and most of this is all of it is actually online. You can find it. We can help you, but I think one of the things that, if you come to SCORE, if you come to other similar agencies, it's not that we have an encyclopedic knowledge of this. We'll pass on whatever we already know, but that will be up to you to ensure that you're not running afoul of any local or state and federal regulations, laws, etc. I kind of I end up summarizing pretty much everything as we go along, but think about that. The team, You may not need an attorney right away, but you will need one. How do you get one so that you can, and who do you know who you can trust? Say, look, I have some legal questions. Um, uh, Usually the first 15 minutes is free. That's what I've seen with certain attorneys. But after that, it's billable hours. But you need to know who you can go to. And we can give you some ideas there too. Uh, the money people, the accountants, the CPAs, the bookkeepers, very rarely are they taking new clients. We have a shortage of them. If anybody'd like to go into accounting or be a bookkeeper, that would be great. And I can find plenty of clients for you, by the way, there too. Insurance, go to your independent insurance agency. That is a technical field, and you need to get an expert. Local regulations, state and federal regulations, it's online. You can find it, and we can help you, but you can find it yourself. If you have just, especially with AI, is that you can don't take AI's answer for it, but let them steer you towards the websites, etc. And if you do have questions, you can call or text or email them, and they'll hopefully answer your questions in a timely manner. What kind of business? These are the business structures. Okay, look at the first: sole proprietor, LLC, partnership, multi-member LLC. Um, at least the LLC pieces, they all are designed to protect your personal assets. That's primarily their design. Whereas the company, a limited liability company, it actually will absorb if there are any lawsuits, et cetera, and all. By the way, you can get errors and omissions insurance. That's if you want to be a consultant or something like that. But these are designed to protect your personal assets. Sole proprietor, the most simple form of business structure where you're the boss. You're the chief cook and bottle washer, however you want to put it there too. Of course, if you do, uh, you get all the profits, but you get all the liabilities there too. But in many cases, that's actually that you get a good insurance policy, and that will take care of your liabilities there too. Look down at C corporation. C corporation and S corporations, they're different business structures. And you see how they're underlined? These are all hot linked where you can go in and find the definitions and what suits you best. But C corp and S corps, they're for tax purposes. That's what they're designed for. And an attorney, like we say here, and tax accountant, they can help you decide what's the best. One of the things that I've found with the LLC business, not the C Corp or the S Corp, but LLC, is that Maine has designed a website that kind of takes you through it, and it's really pretty simple. And one of the things that I do with my clients is let's get on Zoom. We'll share the screen. I'll show you how it goes and what these, if there's a technical term, what it means, and then you can decide for yourself. I'm not going to do it for you. I can't do it for you, but you can decide for yourself if that's something you want to fill out yourself. Now, there are other mentors, score mentors, who say, like, talk to an attorney, just talk to an attorney. Uh, and but you can decide for yourself whether or not you want to fill that out yourself. And usually, I find that for very very simple businesses, it may make sense for you to just go ahead and do it yourself. And that's the website is actually designed for that. But others, it's your level of comfort there too. And a partnership, we I have mentor colleagues who really think that, boy, if you can avoid a partnership, avoid it. But some partnerships work out really, really well. It's just that you really have to design a partnership agreement the right way and with everything in mind. What if a partner just gets tired of this and decides to leave? What if a partner um, wants to stay? I'm just helping a client now who has wants a silent partner. And this silent partner says, look, I'm just going to invest a certain amount of money in this business. I won't say a thing about it. I won't interfere with you, or I don't want to do because you know your business best, but I want 35% of your profits. And here you can have this amount of money, and then um, if you decide to, or if I decide to get out of this partnership, then I want all this money invested, that I already invested in you. I want it back at 15% per year for how many years that I had it invested with you. Uh, Pass that through one of my attorney colleagues there too, and he thought, "Wow, not only do I not like the wording, but that seems like a pretty steep uh, requirement there. And wouldn't he do better to just go for commercial lending? I mean, that their stipulations would be similar, but the interest rate would be lower, or the penalties would be lower too. And so we advised the client, and the client went talked to his attorney, and he said, "You're absolutely right. I'm not gonna, under these circumstances, I do not want to have a partnership like that." Um, the operating agreement is going to tell, and this is something that an attorney absolutely needs to be involved in there too. Other important company details: as you fill out, as you register your company with Maine, you'll have to check the Maine business registry to say that to see that you don't have a similar or an exact the same name as anybody else who's already registered with Maine. Um, your numbers, the federal EIN, the sales tax certificate, it's all online, something you can just uh, do yourself there too. Your business bank accounts. Look and see who you're already banking with, and if they have a commercial lending department, that may make them more sympathetic. It certainly will open up the doors for you. And remember too that the lending institution, they have people who work full time, and commercial lenders, who you give them a call and say, "Look, I'm thinking about opening up this business, or I have this business already." We had my plumber contractor, who just relocated from one part of Maine to another, recommended several lenders to him, and one, two of which he had already known and had some business with, and and but recommended another one to him, who I've been very impressed with, Maine Community Bank, that they seem to be really open and helpful in that sense. And they'll spend some time with you. Any commercial lender should be able to spend some time with you. Say, "Look, this is what we offer. This is what we require. This is how likely it is that we would do business with you there too." But you can make that. That's what they're employed for, is to sift through and find the good investments. And that would be you. That would perhaps, hopefully, would be you as well there too. Licensing, if you need any of that, that's usually, uh, keep in mind there's a municipal, that's the town or the city. There's also perhaps a county, but there may be state and federal as well too. So these are all the what we just talked about there too. The partners, it's dicey, but you can do it, and you can get the right uh, setup, just so that everybody knows where they stand and what will happen if there are any changes, because that's what it is. It's primarily the changes on there too. Don't forget the sales tax. I can't believe that this client went under the radar for 2 years, but they had to resolve that, and there's probably a penalty that's included within that too. The banks, we can help you find the lenders, but that's something that you probably already have an existing relationship with a lender, and they have a commercial lending department, and so they already know you. Start with them, right? And the business type that you have, the most simple, of course, is sole proprietorship, and the more complex. Uh, you go from LLC down to S Corp and C Corp. S Corp and C Corp are for tax purposes primarily. LLC is primarily to make sure that your assets are protected, and if there's any liability, it would fall on the company. But remember, what our insurance agents all say is that nothing says loving like a decent liability policy, and that will protect everything. And the funding, we talked a little bit about this already. Um, what's your break even? What, not only an amount, but what about a time frame? How long will it take for you to do break even? And keeping in mind any kind of other constraints like the seasons, the upturns and downturns in the economy that we probably can't predict those, but seasonal you can, that your winter months may be slow. My client, I have a client who owns like a little barbecue stand, and I've told him, is there anything that I see that's similar to his business that's around me in my area? They close in October and they reopen in April, or maybe even May. He insists on staying open year round. So he's got to make some adjustments so that he hiring staff, buying his product, operating his barbecue stand and all. He's got some significant constraints that he has to deal with during the slow months. He does, but I think it's pretty tough. I think it's pretty tough. And the 2 to 3 year cash flow projection, that will probably get you through any upturns or downturns in the economy. That will account for seasons. That will account for um, maybe even some weather disruptions and all that. But the 2 to 3 years, that gives you enough time where you can actually decide and get a good picture of the upturns and the downturns. It gives you a good period of what you can realistically expect. And we talked a little bit about the funding. Your commercial, your local banks. My daughter-in-law ended up working full time and then part time until she opened up her own events florist business. And I remember the day. I think it was the 1st of March. I can't remember the exact year, but she said, "That's it. I am done with working the corporate world, and I am going full force into my events florist business." She and her partner, and that was years ago. They're doing great, and it's the best decision they ever made there too. But that was a decision that she and her partner made, that what they were going to do is, in order to keep the money coming in, is that they'd work full time and then part time. Where too, you may be able to get a loan, or some investment from a family member or a friend. We think it's generally a bad idea, because that could fracture really important relationships. Uh, Grants. I'd like to say a little bit about grants. It's not that I don't like them, but I think people are overly optimistic about the grants that may be available to them. I don't see. I see there's a lot of work that goes into them. The grant application. It's got to be something that the grantees want to support. And it's also got to be, you got to keep in mind that it's either a one time or it's a very limited time there too. People often will come to SCORE saying, like, all I need, I know that there are grants out there. It's going to be great. That's what I need. It's free money. Um, it's I think in many cases, a commercial loan may be easier for you to get, and more accessible than you think. By all means, go for it. If you come to me asking, "John, what kind of grants am I going to be eligible for?" What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you uh, the Coastal Enterprise Institute's grant resource booklet and say, "Have at it. Go ahead and you can search through that thing and figure out what you think would be the best for you." Grants.gov is another resource. I don't know specifically what grants will be applicable to what you want to do, but this is something that you can search, you can probably find, and go ahead and compete for that there too. You will need to fill out your own application and all that, but with AI, that ends up being a little more simple, where they'll do 75% of the work through Chat GPT or Genesis or something like that. Once you put in the prompts, and then what you do is you will hone it, refine it, etc. Have at it. I find that I am not as optimistic with grants and competitions as many people who come to SCORE think that we should be. So your loans, crowdfunding, we've heard that GoFundMe is a good crowdfunding source. Venture capital. We don't have a lot of people who qualify for venture capital, but keep in mind that any venture capital person, investor, they want a return on their investment. And they usually want their money back within 3 to 5 years with the return. So it's a source of funding, um, but you may not be in a position to pay back the investment capital along with what they expect to have back. They're in it to make money, and they will make money, and hopefully that'd be something that you could successfully use. It's certainly an option for you, but it's again, it's almost like grants. I'm not as optimistic with them as many are. Now, bootstrapping, that's where what you do is you maybe with pre-sales, with the profits, with orders, etc. What you're doing is you're bringing in enough money to sustain your business as in order to operate it. You've got to be very careful about your cash flow with that, because you've got to keep in mind too, cash flow. Don't forget that you're in it to make money for yourself as well. It's not only to sustain the business, but maybe you have a payroll. But what about you? I have a client that he has regularly taken about $100 a month out of his business. That's all, and that's all he feels he can afford on there too. He's got a couple pensions that are coming in that provide him, but boy, does he live frugally. But his business doesn't make enough, at least not yet, to pay him really what you would hope he would be able to get. I think he deserves a lot more, but it just that his business can't sustain it. So the bootstrapping, and he's bootstrapping. He is bootstrapping. Most of the money goes back into the business. Is that enough? Is that going to work for you? Um, Bootstrapping should be temporary. It shouldn't be a permanent way of working your business. And here's some other ways of bootstrapping. See the picture is really looks like a maker's market where you bring it there, and you show what you've made and you sell right there too. County fairs, a great place to start. I don't know the access fee, but we have the fall fair, Windsor Fair, I think, is going on right at the moment on August 27th, and great place to sell if you have something to sell and to exhibit and have some sympathetic people, some fun people to do that. So. In summation there too, know the funding that is available to you. Also, is there something that's maybe not quite as elaborate in your product or your service that still is something that the customers find attractive? Do you know your market? And the bootstrapping, the savings run out. Bootstrapping should only be temporary. One other thing too, I'd like to say about the bootstrapping that I've seen is that what happens if your business is never really that profitable, that you're constantly bootstrapping. Um, what happens when it comes time for you to retire, or you want to do something different, or there's something like a health issue or something like that where you'd like to sell the business? Well, the business isn't worth that much because it takes most of what you're doing in the business to operate the business. And there's really not much profit that goes in there. I've heard people say, geez, I think all I'm doing is I'm selling like a low wage job. Or a minimum wage job. I don't know that I want to do that. I don't know who would want to buy that. So that's just something to keep in mind there too. That you need to go ahead and bootstrap, but get out of there. Get out of there. And take the big step if it costs that much to go bigger on your business if necessary, or just say, look, I need to find something else that's going to allow me to get out of this bootstrapping. Financial statements, uh, you can see the hot links that we've got there too. You have got to not only be the carpenter, you've got to not only be the furniture builder, you've got to not only be the brewer or the aquaculturalist or all that. You've got to be somebody who's familiar with financial terms, financial products, and knowing where your business stands financially. And these hot links are going to help you there too. We have some templates on score.org that you're welcome to, they're free. They're free, but you can use them and adapt them to your own. A business plan is probably the most important thing that we at SCORE end up with. And there are other options for you besides SCORE. The Small Business Development Center that's funded by and staffed by Small Business Administration. You've got the Coastal Enterprise Institute, and particularly for you ladies who are tuned in, they have the Women's Business Center. And there are two of them, I believe, two or three of them in Maine. And you can get a mentor like myself. Uh, they will help you develop a business plan. Also, Maine Technology Institute, they do something very similar to that. All of these places, we can help you develop business plans. And a business plan is not only important for somebody else, like a commercial lender, like an investor, like a partner, perhaps, but it's important for you because it kind of forces you to go through your marketing, to go through your personnel policies, to go through, what is this customer that you want to reach, to go through your financial pieces there too. This business plan is something that you get to think through. Remember, that's one thing that General Eisenhower said. He said, "Yeah, the plan." The war plan, say in his case, yeah, it's important. It's very important, and I see the value for it. But the planning itself, the thinking through to see what's plausible and what isn't, what's right, what's wrong, what's low value, what's high value, that's the key. And that's what you're doing with a business plan. Who's it for? Look at the very bottom. Like I was saying, it's for you, but it's for everybody else who is interested in your plan as well. And here's how the whole thing goes. Here, the cloud is the problem. Remember, it's your customer's problem. Your problem, our problem is getting you into business. But the real problem is that you're solving with a service or a product something that your customer really wants, right? And who is that customer? And does your solution fit that customer? What's the value proposition? Understanding that not only refers to cash, that not only refers to profitability, but it also refers to what are the values that you exhibit? What are the values that your customer is attracted to that will cause your customer? It's not only a money proposition, but we saw those other things. There's the convenience. There's the what you stand for, the main made, for instance, and all that. These are all things that your customer values that you're able to fulfill. You test it, you ask your customers, not only is the proof in the pudding, but you're surveying. You're having conversations. You're talking to other people whom they may be competitors, but they may also be collaborators. Um, you're trying to figure that out. You're accessing data that the state or the town or the federal government may have there too. And then you measure it, you tweak it, et cetera, and it goes right back into how can I make this better? How can I have a more uh, meaningful value proposition? What are the values that I'm trying to nail down that I haven't nailed down before? A continuous circle, or I should say rectangle in our case. So the conclusion is that starting a business, it's not for everybody. I remember one famous quote is that don't. But if you must, here's how you do it. Uh, it may not be for everybody. Not everybody has that temperament. And there are people who would like to start a business, and then there are entrepreneurs. And we have colleagues who say, well, I'm not only a business starter, or I've not only started businesses and have run businesses, but I'm an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs, that's a different breed. Those guys and gals are pretty much bulletproof. I mean, there's nothing gets them down. If anything, a failure is just one of those things, not really a failure. It's just a good measurable test of what didn't work. What did Edison say is that he didn't fail 99 times. He discovered 99 out of 100 times. He discovered 99 ways that a light bulb wouldn't work. But the 100th time, he did find the way to make the light bulb work. Your customers, it's your focus. It's not what you think is important. It's what they think is important and what they value. Your competition as well. What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? One other thing, let me point this in here. One of the things that me and my plumber, an HVAC guy, our client, we think, and I'm interested in hearing back from him because I think it'll work, is that there is a major contractor for plumbing and HVAC in his particular area. Um, what we think and what he is going to do is he's going to talk with them and just say, hey, look, I'm a little guy, I'm a new guy, and I don't anticipate that I'm going to be any big competition to you. But I know if you get overwhelmed or if you need my specific expertise, because I'm really good at installing heat pumps and that kind of technology, give me a call. Give me a call. I'll operate under your moniker and everything like that. But I will be able to help you, and if you need some help. And I think it'll work. I think it'll work because we've had other instances where that's worked. They're not a competitor, they're a collaborator. So I don't know if you want to start small, but if you do start small, however you start, make sure that you test, you learn, and adapt. And we're here to help you. Just a little bit about us. I know Jasper was pretty informative right at the very beginning. Is that we're nonprofit, we're huge, we're across the nation. We've been in operation since 1964, and we have a variety of different clients. Would love to help if you'd like to help. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap it up at that particular point, and let's get back to. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to open it up to anybody there too. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we did have a few come in from Jubilee.
Ah,
A number of questions. I think, yeah, I do think maybe a mentor might be really helpful here, but I think we can address some of them as there's some good topics here.
let's do it.
I First question is, I think I have a great business idea and deem it to be neat and valuable. However, how would I start if I don't have any money or debt and do have debt?
That's a pretty common issue. And that's why we talk about bootstrapping. We talk about commercial lending. We talk about grants, et cetera. This is there are a variety of ways to start, but there's no ready source of money. There's no ready. Um, it's something you have to go out and you have to find what's going to be available to you. I don't know what your savings are like. I don't know what your employment is like there too, but you're likely going to have only really what you have at that particular point. Um, that you'll need a business plan in order to attract any commercial investment, commercial lending, et cetera, and all that. And that's one thing we can help you with. But we often will have people who just they have absolutely no means, but they've got a vision, they've got some passion, they've got people who also don't have any money but would love to be part of whatever's going on.
Another great one is on the topic of bootstrapping, working for a competitor. Could they possibly sue for, say, copyright infringement or stealing business?
Well, it depends. I think that if they want you to sign some kind of an NDA or a non-compete, whatever, then you just you I think that that's where you have to look and see, like, look, I'm in the Lewiston Auburn market. I'm not in the Portland market. Um, I'm not going to be a competitor unless you're trying to branch off into Lewiston Auburn. And that's what we found is that the when my Lewiston Auburn client went to go work with and work for our Portland person, the Portland person had no notion of competition. He just said, I'm happy to help. This is really interesting, and I've done very well, and I would be happy to not only employ you if you want to do that, but I'll be your mentor. I mean, I'll help you out, and we'll work together, which I think is probably remarkable, but still, it happens, you know. Maybe we
Hmm.
can help you find someone who is a score client who would be willing to do that kind of a thing.
Yeah. And one more, there were a few other ones, but I think they're a little, we're not in the business of discouraging people here, I feel like. So I don't think we can address the other two, but there is one more from Jubilee, wondering if you have any just further advice on becoming or learning how to become the bulletproof entrepreneur you describe.
Um, I don't know if there is such a bulletproof entrepreneur, um, but I know that the people who are truly entrepreneurial, it's a gift. It's not something that everybody rolls into. They have a certain degree of mental resiliency. They also are just they're kind of a different breed in that sense that they don't they look at failure or unprofitability as it's not really that big of a deal. They're just going to keep on trying. There's one woman we had, Jasper, who talked about her. I can't remember exactly what service she was providing, but she started off with something completely different from what she ended up with. And what she was really after, I think, what her value proposition was, is do something that somebody needs that they'll pay well for. And
Hmm.
it's not very technical and it's probably not very helpful, but we gave her one of our annual awards, uh, and and I don't and she just got good at, and it wasn't anything that she was really that I don't know, I wouldn't say interested in, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't match her with that expertise. Um, she just wanted to succeed in business. I don't know. That's
Totally.
kind of a funny thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a great time to plug too. If you're not already working with a score mentor, it's something that we can, absolutely guide you on. You do that for free at score.org. Just enter your zip code right on the front page and fill out a brief form saying what you're looking for help with, what your type of business is, and if you're in business or not.
That's right.
We try to pair people pretty quickly. And as we mentioned earlier, as John mentioned, we are nationwide. So if there's a specific, request that you have that can't necessarily be filled in mainly, I'm sure we have a mentor across the entire country that
That's right.
could answer that.
That's right.
Um,
I've even mentored a number of people from New York City
oh
for
yeah.
that matter. And I'm saying, like, how the heck did you? did you find me, and why do you think that I am a good fit for you? Uh, but it turned out to be pretty interesting and pretty good. So,
Yeah, we've got I see them coming in all the time since we are nationwide. We also get requests from across the country too. So it's always interesting to see what people are up to throughout the nation, as far as small business goes. But we are here to help. And since it doesn't look like there's any other questions, I do want to thank everyone for attending today. I want to thank John for a great presentation. And I want to thank today's sponsor, the TD Charitable Foundation, for helping make today's event possible. It's a quick reminder, we will be sending out the recording and slides once they are available. And that will also come with a link to a survey that we greatly appreciate you filling out. We hope to see you again at any of our future workshops. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
great. Thanks,
Thanks a lot,
Jasper.
guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you around.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
All right, Jubilee. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.